Hello everyone, this is Gerald with the OOS Schools Program, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of our 4R's unit games. This is called Where Does It Come From and Go. So this is a game right here, and I'm going to explain to you how to do this game. I also like to refer to this game as a graphic organizer card game because, as you see, this whole board's a big graphic organizer and we got a bunch of cards here. The objective of this game is to fill in all these spaces, okay, based on these columns. I'll explain that in just a second. Also, in this game, the last row, 13th row, actually we're gonna leave blank unless you like to create your own cards for this row. So let me explain a little bit more about this game. I'll use the example on top. This is the example we have. So the first column says, which natural resource does the item come from? So what you do is you look at the item. The item here is office paper. So where does office paper come from? Trees make office paper. And then what do you do with it? Can you recycle it? Can you commercially compost it? Or do you landfill it? And that's actually what this question says above. You can recycle office paper. And then from there, there's an end process. After it gets recycled, it goes somewhere else. And where do you think it goes? Correct, it actually can go to a factory and it can be made into other paper. In this case, this card says, yes, it can be used to manufacture binder paper. See, and that correlates again with the question on top of this column right here. It says, can the materials from this item be used to make anything else? Yes, it can be used to manufacture binder paper. So I'm going to do other row. I would suggest you find all the card items and you put them in this column first. And then you start matching it all up with, for example, what resource it comes from, and then whether you compost it, you landfill or recycle it, and then what happens to it at the very end. So we're gonna do one row, okay? And I'm gonna pick the card, this card right here, glass jelly jar. And I'm gonna put that in this card in this column for item, okay? Now, if you think about it, where does glass come from? Glass comes from sand. So we're gonna put that here. Glass jelly jar comes from sand. And then our next column says, does the item get recycled, commercially composted, or landfilled? You can actually recycle the glass jelly jar. Just remember to scoop out all the jelly, and then we can recycle it. And then, now we have to find out what happens at the very end. So can the materials from this item, which is the glass jelly jar, be used to make anything else? We gotta search through the cards and try to find it. Oh, here it is. Yes, it could be used to manufacture a glass olive oil bottle. There we go. So now this row is complete. I would like you to do the rest of the cards yourself. And remember, the last row, 13th row, we're gonna leave that blank. But try to do this by yourselves or with others. This game is great to work with others as a puzzle. And you know, if you could work with two other members of your family on this game, or if you're in the classroom with two other students, that would be great. If you're done and you think you're done and you got everything, then you can go ahead and check the answers. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit. So good luck on the game. Welcome back, this is Gerald again, and hopefully you worked on playing this game. Hopefully you had fun, and we're ready to go over the answers. So let's start doing that. Really quickly, before we go over the answers, I forgot to mention earlier, we actually have two versions of this game. One version is based on if you live in South San Francisco, Brisbane, Millbrae, San Bruno, Daly City, and even Half Moon Bay, or even nearby areas to this, you'd use this version of the game. The other version of the game is based on whether or not you live in South Bayside Waste Management Authority area. This is called the Rethink Waste region, and it is from Burlingame down to East Palo Alto on the east side of 280. So if you want more details about that, you could always give us a call and contact us at Office Sustainability. So let me go over the answers to this game. And again, this I'll just call, this is the game based in South San Francisco, Half Moon Bay, Brisbane area, and those surrounding areas in San Bruno. So let's go over this. We already went over the first row, which is jelly jars come from sand. You can recycle that, and that gets made in an olive oil bottle. Now let's do this one. So here we have a dirty paper plate. Again, paper comes from trees. We can compost that, commercially compost it, and it breaks down and gets made into soil, the compost itself, which is nutrients for plants. So let's check this row. Here we have petroleum. Okay, well, here we have plastic. This is a black plastic food trade that comes from petroleum. In this area, unfortunately, they don't recycle it, so it gets landfilled, and then it ends up here in the landfill. So no, it is forever buried in the landfill. So let's look at this one. Plastic water bottles comes from petroleum oil, gets recycled, and it could be made into fleece sweaters and fleece carpet and different materials. Here we have a soup can, okay, bimetal soup can. Metal comes from minerals and rocks. It gets recycled, and then that could be made into a can of beans. Not the beans, of course, but the can itself. And here we have a dirty pizza box, which comes from trees. It gets composted, and again, that breaks down into compost, and that's our composting card right here. And so I'm going to quickly go through the other ones. Here we have newspaper, comes from trees. We could recycle that. That could be made into paper towels. Here we have a yogurt container. Again, the plastic container is made from petroleum. It could get recycled, and then it could be made into a plastic slide. In this case, we have aluminum soda pop can. Metal comes from rocks. It gets recycled, and it could be made into a bat. Here we have a glass bottle that comes from sand. It gets recycled, and it can be made into other glass bottle, and in this case, a glass sparkling water bottle. And here we have a dirty styrofoam takeout food container. Styrofoam is a type of plastic, so it comes from oil, petroleum. It gets landfilled because we don't recycle that. It ends up in the landfill forever. Here we have a plastic chip bag. The plastic itself comes from petroleum. That goes in the landfill, and it never gets taken out. And finally, we have cardboard here. Cardboard comes from trees. It gets recycled, and they could be made into an oatmeal box. So if you did this game based on the South Bay Wayside Management Authority area, or Rethink Waste Service area, then the only thing you would change is this row right here. So in this case, black plastic in the Rethink Waste Service area actually gets recycled, and then it could be made into a plastic painter black tray. So that's the game, and these are the answers. Hopefully you learned something. And other great activity is, once you do this once, mix all the cards up and try to do it again. Maybe even time yourself. You could also compete against other groups and see how fast they can do it after doing it once. So thank you so much for listening, and have a great day, everyone.